You're with Julian on the Brown Note and Corbyn v Blair, the personality cult killing the UK Labour Party. Now, there's a prevailing wisdom about Jeremy Corbyn, which is that there is a cult of personality around him, and his supporters and adherents are destroying the Labour Party by refusing to let go of him, and for being irrational and part of a zealot cult. This is upside down. This is what I want to say. There is a cult of personality killing Labour, but it isn't Jeremy Corbyn. It's Tony Blair. Now, the prevailing wisdom is this. The Labour Party were indebted to their old unionist past. They were inelectable, that they owe everything they have to Tony Blair coming in and for the first time in 18 years winning 3 elections, and that they've never won without him, and that Jeremy Corbyn was stepping back into the socialist unelectable past of the Labour Party, that we are, troglodytes, we are the people that are holding Labour back by supporting Jeremy Corbyn and not allowing the sleek modernist version of the Labour Party to thrive. This is absolute crap. The cult of personality is Tony Blair. Now, back in the 90s in the UK, the Tory party had been in power until Labour got in 1997 for, I think, 18 years. We had 3 Thatcher premierships, and they weren't as cut and dried as everyone makes out. She nearly lost the second election that she was in, and a large part of that was down to a wave of patriotism over the Falkland Islands. And eventually, after her third election, was ever decreasing rewards for the Tory party, and they started to be embroiled in scandals. John Major took over, and the whole thing went to hell. Now, John Smith was an old union leader who led, or at least part of the old school Labour in the UK. Now, he took over, and everyone loved him. He was guaranteed to win that 1997 election, and he died. He died in 1994, out of nowhere. Someone that no one had heard of before Tony Blair appeared. And he was a Murdoch Press anointed princeling. During that period, the Tory party had been up to their necks in failure and disorganisation, and everyone, including the Murdoch Press, had turned on them, because Murdoch turns on right-wing parties when he knows that they're going to lose. Now, Black Wednesday, everything that happened during those years leading up to 1997 made the Tory party completely unelectable. John Smith would have walked that election. This wasn't won by Tony Blair. The Labour Party, with any other leader, won that election. There may have been a bump for Tony Blair to win by a landslide in that election, but they would have won by a near landslide with anybody else in charge, including Corbyn. And John Smith would have definitely won that election, but looking back, we paint it as though Tony Blair came from nowhere and saved the Labour Party. He won with 418 seats, which was a landslide. He won nearly the same again the next time around in the 2001 general election. And then he wed the UK Labour Party in government to the Bush administration and became the most important validator of the Gulf War, massively eroding all of the support amongst the Labour caucuses, as Labour were wildly against going to war in Iraq and Afghanistan. In 2005, the third of his ginormous election wins, he won by 355, 70 seats nearly less. And then he was removed from power, he quit, and Gordon Brown took over, lost the next election, and they've never won since. Now, the prevailing wisdom is that he came from nowhere, rescued the Labour Party by modernising them, taking them away from socialism and unions. This is the right-wing media, what they want the public to think about Labour, but it isn't true. Tony Blair rode the wave of discontent against the Tory party in the UK that anyone else would have won. He probably increased their lead for those first 2 elections, and then he got rid of all of that support by supporting the Gulf War and being a completely arrogant man that was completely out of step with the rest of his party. And since then, Labour have lost every election. Now, that's all blamed on Jeremy Corbyn going back to the old ways, but all of those first three elections they lost were were Blairites that were broadly in the same vein as Tony Blair. Why does he get credit for rescuing the Labour Party, who would have already won those elections, when he then dramatically reduced the Labour Party vote in his third election and left because of that? And the supporters of him that went on to lead the Labour Party also lost. And Jeremy Corbyn went to the election against Theresa May and wildly outperformed expectations. The following election, a large chunk of his own party, the Blairites, the people that still supported Tony Blair, actively worked to stop their own party getting elected. And they say that it's the people that support Jeremy Corbyn that are killing Labour. These are the people that want to paint Jeremy Corbyn's ideology as the reason that Labour keep losing and are unelectable. But when you've got every media organisation in the UK attacking you, and when you've got the Guardian and the BBC who are supposed to be on your side as in neutral, saying that you're an anti-Semite on a trumped-up racism charge for the least racist British political leader in my lifetime, the most anti-racist political leader in my lifetime. And you've got your own party, probably a third of it, working to not get you elected. All of those people happy to see Boris Johnson and the Brexit gang getting power just to destroy the legacy of Jeremy Corbyn's populist socialist democracy, the same as Bernie Sanders in America. These are the cult of personality that are destroying the Labour Party, and it is a complete fallacy to say that Tony Blair was the saviour of the Labour Party. He rode two elections that Labour would have won anyway, probably increased their vote because he had the Murdoch press on his side, and then saw a massive reduction in the vote the third election, walked away, leaving a lot of animosity towards the Labour Party because of things he did, like going to war in the Gulf, and a legacy of hatred towards him. The people that are 15 years later still supporting that Tony Blair vision of Labour are the cult of personality destroying the Labour Party. It isn't Jeremy Corbyn. Jeremy Corbyn is not the past of the Labour Party that's dragging us down. It's Tony Blair. And it's time we said that it's Tony Blair, and he isn't this princeling that came in and saved Labour. He was anointed from nowhere because the Labour leader died before the election. And he rode the back of two elections. And then he massively went backwards on the third one and walked away. And since then, the legacy of his support has only ever dragged Labour down. They've never won with Blairites since. And Jeremy Corbyn came very close in the Theresa May election to pulling off a miracle victory. And way ahead of any of the support he was getting. He was being attacked by the media universally then. But when you go into an election with a third of your party actively trying to stop you getting elected, with all of the right-wing media attacking you, and the centrist or left-wing media telling the world that you're an anti-Semite in the month leading up to the election, there's not a whole lot you can do. And now they turn around and try and erase Jeremy Corbyn's legacy by continually calling him a racist. It's the Blairites that are killing Labour, and that's what I wanted to say.